it's live streaming us. Cool, we are on. All right, hello everyone. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Leah and we are very lucky to be joined with Erica today. Do you want to say hi, Erica?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So as you guys know, I love talking to you guys about sales, how you can increase your sales, how you can make them easier, how they can become more effortless. And Erica is here to share some of her branding brilliance and background with us, and specifically how we can use our branding to make better and more sales, how you can start with branding, even if you don't feel like you have a great eye for it. I'm one of those people, and really just give us a little bit more advice on using social media and branding for our businesses. So why don't we dive in? Erica, do you want to give us a few sentences about your background in branding and how you became so good at what you do, other than your natural, beautiful, aesthetic brilliance?
Oh my gosh, thank you. Sure. So my background actually started in the fashion industry. I went to school for fashion and fashion marketing. I worked for a while as a celebrity stylist in Los Angeles, and then I kind of transitioned into the entertainment world. And throughout all of that, I really learned the importance of what it means to have a brand, be a brand, and like utilize all aspects to it. And so as social media has grown, and the rise of like influencers and businesses on social media, I've really transitioned all of that background into how do you put that out there aesthetically for your clients and customers.
Yes, amazing. And you're very, very good at what you do. So let's dive in. If someone starts, let's just get practical here. If someone is on Instagram, they have a business, and they know that social media is basically unavoidable at this point if you want to have some sort of presence and you want to have an audience and you want to build a platform. But their zone of genius is not Instagram or branding. Their zone of genius is whatever their business is. Maybe they, maybe they're an e-commerce store and they're really great at whatever it is they designed, or they're a health coach and they're great at health coaching. Let's put it this way. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see people make that just don't really have a ton of background in Instagram when it comes to the platform?
Yeah, I would say the biggest mistake that I see is not having branding in place. And when I say branding, I'm not just talking about a font, a logo, a color scheme. I'm talking about how are you showing up on social media? The thing with Instagram that's really amazing is that your feed is a portfolio. And so the biggest thing that I see that's an issue is when people are all over the place. There's different graphics, there's random photos, the images are blurry. Like that is not communicating to your client or customer that you know what you're talking about. And so like you're subconsciously telling them that you're not an expert, which is the last thing you want to do when you have a business. So that's kind of, I would say that's the biggest issue I see.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. And I think, I had to kind of like stop putting up with my own bullshit when it came to Instagram, because I would think like, well, I don't have a photography background, or I don't have a photographer. I can't afford, like there's so many excuses for why someone can't have something like that. Where and how do you recommend people can just like start with the resources they have? I believe everyone can. What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely don't need to be a graphic designer or have any background in that. There's amazing resources out there. Pinterest is great. There's stock photo websites. If you're like, I need photos, but I'm not a photographer, those are amazing places to head to. The biggest thing that you can do, in my opinion, is to actually not focus on graphics. Instagram is a video and photo platform. And so I would take that effort of like, I don't know how to use InDesign or things like that, and focus more on the photo aspect. And nowadays there's really easy things out there, like Lightroom has presets if you want all of your photos to look the same. It's really just about keeping things cohesive. So you don't have to have an eye for like, let me go take a photo, but it's like, if I'm looking for a photo, what's clean about it? What's inviting about it? Is this reflecting my business.
Really good advice. And so then if once people kind of can put in these like basic principles of creating a brand, and I love what you said about Instagram being a portfolio. It's such a great opportunity and it's free. And, it's something that we don't take advantage of enough. How can they, or I guess I'm going to ask again, what mistakes do you see when it comes to selling on the platform and people using it as actually a, marketing tool instead of just a place to put photos?
Yeah. So my philosophy behind all social media really is that your content should either entertain, inspire, or engage in some way, provide value. And then like the last little bit is sales. So it's like people want to get to know you. People want to get to know your business. Who are you? Why should I care about you? What have you been through? Like, what can I connect with you on? And if people are on there just constantly, buy this, buy that, I have this program, I have that. And it's like, I don't know anything about you other than I feel like you're screaming at me to like throw money at you. And that makes me want to run the other direction. But if you're like telling me about your life, showing me like maybe what you ate for lunch, like those things are interesting to people. And it brings like the humanity back to it. I think because there's a screen in between us all, like it's harder to get that connection. And so if you're inviting me into the behind the scenes, I'm 100% going to be more invested in spending my money with you than someone who's just like, I have the best program for whatever it is they're selling.
Right, right. I think it's so easy to think that we don't have anything to share or to feel like, why would anyone be interested in whatever it is that we're doing behind the scenes? I know I suffered with things like that, but more than ever, brands are about the people behind them. And I think even the days of like having a logo, like I noticed this the other day. If I'm like on Instagram and in someone's stories, I just see that their headshot or whatever their main picture is, their profile picture is a logo, I like feel less connected to them, or like already I do, even if they sell the same thing as someone else who has their picture on it, even if it's like the same product with the same effect, I feel more connected to the person who's like showing me who's behind the product, who's selling it, why they're doing it and things like that. So I think that it's just never been more important to share your story, and no story, like no one has a life that isn't worth sharing. No one has, there's nothing too small, I think, to share is the way I'm trying to put it. What could someone start with if they are feeling maybe a little shy or like they have a little bit of imposter syndrome?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things that I tell my clients is that branding and aesthetics aren't just like a pretty picture, right? The messaging comes into play, who you are, what are your missions, what are your values. So if you're worried about like, maybe I don't have the best photo, but I have a really good story, but you're like, I'm nervous to get on the camera and speak. People love just like little snippets of things.
Yeah.
You can do voiceovers now. You can, in your stories, add text. There's so many ways to like put yourself out there that doesn't have to be like, I'm going to sit here and go live or record a video. Like if that's not your comfort zone, that's okay. And you can build up to that if those are things you're interested in, but it's not the only way. I think it's just as long as you're showing up. And even if you just take a photo of yourself or have photos of you, it brings the connection back where it's not just like, here's photos of everything from my viewpoint from today, but here's like you looking at me. It's like me looking at you right now. Like there's so much more of a connection where it's like, I feel like I'm your friend. I feel like, well, we are friends, but like, I feel like for somebody I don't know, we are friends because you've let me in and now I feel safe. Like maybe I can send you a DM. Maybe I am going to comment on your photo. So I think there's so many ways to get past that. It doesn't have to be you speaking out. There's so many ways to share your opinions.
Right. Do you find, I guess, something that I think a lot of people wonder is like, what is the perfect way? And I don't think it exists, but I'd love to hear like, what do you tell people in terms of how frequently to post? What time of day do you pay attention to those? Do you think it's like people get too caught up in that and you should just kind of let it go and do as you feel? Like, how do you, because I know you work with clients directly on this kind of thing, how do you think about that and systematizing your branding?
Yeah, so consistency is super, super important. But that looks different for everybody. Some people have assistants and things who can run the social media, but some people are doing everything themselves. And it's like, how much time do you have? So a lot goes into that. But my general rule is the more you can show up on a consistent basis with quality content is going to outperform anything of just quantity. Like, let me throw a photo up just to throw a photo up. You're doing yourself a disservice. So if you can post 3 times a week, that's amazing. If you can post 7 times a week, that's amazing. But whatever your capacity is, where it's quality content, it's providing value, it's entertaining, it's educating, do it. Yeah. So it's very individual.
Yeah, I think that is such a relief, because sometimes people feel like, oh, if I don't post every day, is it worth it? And I've been telling people, like, I've been posted every day on Instagram for years, and I don't have a million followers or anything like that. It's not about, it's true that like I probably would have more followers if I posted more, but Instagram for me and for most business owners out there, unless you're purely an influencer and make money off of the numbers, which even influencers, it's not always the case. It's about the quality of your followers and the connection you have with them and the engagement that you can have with them, and how that leads to the growth of your business as a whole, not just how it leads to these vanity numbers. And I think that giving yourself permission to post less frequently, if it allows you to have a higher quality, is not only going to help you be less stressed, it's in the better interest of your business.
Absolutely. And I think if anybody out there is like, I can't do X, Y, and Z until I hit 10,000, 20,000, whatever, you are looking at it the completely wrong way. It's so much more important to have an engaged audience than a big audience.
Yeah. So if someone is wanting to monetize Instagram on the platform, not like use it to represent their brand, like the way I do, but if they're looking to work with a brand or something on, in partnership with a brand on social, how would you start that? What tips do you have for beginning to do that?
Yeah. So like from an influencer kind of perspective.
Yep.
I would definitely say the consistency is huge. If you are wanting to work with brands, they're going to look at your profile. They're going to look at your grid, your portfolio, and be like, okay, how often is this person posting? What are they posting about? Are they in alignment with who we are? So that's the first thing, is if you haven't been consistent yet, you definitely need to start being consistent. The second thing is the brands you want to work with really should be in alignment with who you are as a person. It's like the kiss of death to just say yes to any brand deal, because it creates distrust between your audience. And that's like the most valuable thing in the world. So make sure you're only partnering with brands that you like actually believe in or that you actually use. And then the third thing is, like, if you're reaching out to brands to work with and there isn't room yet, or whatever the case may be, if it's a brand that you genuinely love, still post about it, because over time they're going to see like, this person is, a fan of us. They talked about us, they've shared us, and they will remember that. Like, big brands have teams out there who are paying attention to who's tagging us, how often are they tagging us, because the way branding works these days is like, they want influencers, so it will come back to you.
Right. I think it's so important to remember that. I think it can feel like there's a lot of just opinions about the influencer world, and it can be kind of polarizing, but it's not going anywhere. It's only going to get bigger. It's a very good deal for brands, because as much as it might seem like these influencers are making in comparison to what they've paid for like commercials or like campaigns with movie stars, those things have probably cost them like sometimes 7 figures or multiple 6 figures to do. And now, you pay an influencer 10, 20, even $50,000, they can drive the same, if not more traffic to something like that. So it's not going anywhere. Lean into it, people.
Absolutely. And I've heard of many times that there are influencers or, celebrities out there who have millions of followers and they're not getting the brand deals as content creators with like 1,000. It's because
Wow.
their audiences aren't as engaged. So again, like
Right.
don't discount yourself because you're not the top of the top.
Yeah, so good. What would you say? What about give us, I love mindset so much. And I always think that like how you think about things is how you're going to experience them. So what would you say, either having worked with your clients on their brands or in your own experience with your own business and your own platform, what mindset shift has helped you the most to put yourself out there and to be consistent and to make money from your work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say to have the ability to remove yourself from the equation, where it's not always about you. It really should be, how are you helping others? How are you serving? How are you showing up for them? Why should somebody take their time that they have and invest it in you and what you're doing and follow along and be, invested in what you're doing? There has to be an energy exchange. So if they're not getting anything, they're going to be like, I'm out. Like there's other people that are like, making me feel good about myself or inspiring me to do X, Y, and Z. And sometimes it really helps when you're caught up in like, was that photo okay? Or like, did I say this weird? Or the things that we all can get in our heads about, is my product good enough? Is hers better? Just remove yourself from it and be like, do I believe in what I'm sharing? The answer should hopefully be yes. And then 2, okay, then let me share it because somebody out there needs to hear this or needs this product or needs to feel inspired or needs to laugh today or whatever. So it really just helps to think about your audience and put yourself in their shoes. Like think about how you consume content. I'm assuming you follow content that you're invested in because you're receiving something from that relationship.
Right. That's such good advice. I guess my last bonus question, I had a TikTok go viral like this morning, and the comments are so mean and like so harsh. So, it's totally fine. Like I couldn't care, like it really, it's like, it was like my gender reveal when I revealed that I was pregnant and having a boy. So if like really you have nothing better to do with your life than comment on like someone's like unborn child's, video about them, then that's not my material. But what advice do you have for people that are just afraid of, not even if they don't feel like true fear, but just uncomfortable with the judgment, uncomfortable with people talking about them? I mean, even though this TikTok isn't really getting to me, I've had my fair share of definitely going through fears of what I put out there, and I still deal with that. So what tips do you have on being unapologetically yourself when it comes to social media?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it comes with the territory. It just is, and it's unfortunate. But what I will say that I've learned from my personal experience in dealing with it, we all deal with it at some point to an extent if you're putting yourself out there.
Right.
Is that it's never about you.
Yeah.
It's never, ever about you. It's something about you is triggering an insecurity in them, a fear in them, something internally that's going on with them. And it has nothing to do with you. You just happen to be the one that they stumbled upon and felt the need to express that pain or sadness or hurt or like whatever it is. And it's about them. And it's like, if you can just think about like, that's their stuff, it's not mine, and it's not for me to take on, it will change the game for you.
Yeah, really good advice. Beautiful. And something I always think about is like, if the people out there who can so freely criticize the way you put yourself out there or the way you handle your platform or the way you create something, let them put themselves out there, let them create content, and let them, put something out there, and they won't. That's the thing, is they won't do it. So it's very easy to like judge someone from a position that you won't even try to be in. And the people that are on the same level as you or ahead of you would never, like ever, be the ones that are trying to tear you down because they don't have time. They're like out doing awesome things with their life instead.
There's that saying out there that's like, someone doing more than you will never be the one to criticize you. It's always people doing less. And if you look at the comments, 99% of the time, they're like accounts with no profile picture,
Right.
no follower. They're like, it's just like, come on,
Right.
so you can't take it that seriously at the end of the day.
Right. Totally. I agree. So tell us a little bit about the type of work you do with brands and that service that you offer and where people can find out about it and you.
Yeah. So I have a business called Social Consideration, and I do branding and aesthetics and social strategy for businesses, brands, influencers. Um, and I work really closely with people to create an aesthetic that reflects their brand, reflects their mission, includes their messaging, and just gets their portfolio on Instagram really in alignment with who they are to help them attract their target customers and clients. And it's so much fun. Like I have so much fun with my clients. And so yeah, that's called Social Consideration. And then you can also follow me on Instagram at Erica Ashleigh. I'm on there. I also partner personally with brands. So I have a lot of experience like in the influencer world as well. And that's really fun. If you like fashion, that's my jam.
Love it.
Yeah.
You guys should all follow her. I get so much style inspiration from you. You teach me a
Oh,
lot.
thank
So if
you.
nothing else, follow her for the inspiration. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today. Thanks for sharing this with us. This was hugely helpful, and I really appreciate your expertise and your time, and continue doing the amazing things that you're up to.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun being here.
Me too. Awesome. All right. Bye, everyone. I hope you guys found this helpful. Go implement some of these tips right away. I promise you'll see results. Talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.